Hardcore Minecraft. The concept is simple. We only have one life. If any one of us dies, the world is deleted. Our challenge, survive 100 days. We have 3 main objectives. 1, defeat the Ender Dragon. 2, acquire full Netherite Armor. And 3, find one of the coveted Netherite Black Opal Weapons. As you can see, these items are modded into the game, meaning it's not part of vanilla Minecraft. In comparison to a diamond axe and diamond sword, the Netherite Black Opal weapons do way more damage, and some of them even have special abilities. Day 1. We spawn into the world, and I immediately spot my friend Painful. I jump across the ravine to meet him, and we greet each other with a few punches to the face. We start off normally by punching wood, crafting a workbench, making a wooden pickaxe, mining stone, crafting our stone pickaxe, axe, and shovel. Mined some more stone for a furnace later, and saved Painful from a bumblebee. I made sure to craft a couple of boats for exploring, cooked up and ate some mutton from a sheep. Realizing we had spawned on an island and there was a lack of animals nearby, I went by the shipwreck and noticed a school of fish. Who the heck needs a fishing rod when you have an axe? Realizing it was getting dark, I met back up with Painful, and we started to clear out the area for our base. I also got rid of a nearby beehive. I then gathered up some wood, and started creating the outline for our base. With it being night already, we weren't worried about the look of our base, and just wanted a shelter to keep us safe from the mobs at night. While going to gather some more wood, I was already getting attacked by a spider and a skeleton. I gave up on trying to kill the skeleton, so I just made a run for it back to our base. We then created a roof with whatever blocks we had left, cooked up some of the fish we gathered, installed some windows in our base so no mobs would sneak up on it. We also crafted a stone dagger and stone halberd, also a part of the same mod as the Netherite Black Opal Weapons. Marking the start of day 2, we tested out our new weapons on the mobs and actually found that they did less damage than a stone axe, so we decided against using them for now and went back to using vanilla weapons. We then investigated the shipwreck right next to our base and found some nice goodies in one of the chests. We then finished up our base, lit up the outside, and then we went and explored a little bit on our boats. We then approached a polar bear to see if it was friendly, realized it wasn't, and made a run for it. We made it back to base safely after killing a couple mobs, and crafted ourselves an iron pickaxe. Day 3, we decided it was time to go mining, and we ventured into the ravine right next to our base. We realized there was another ravine inside this ravine, so we decided to take on this cave as carefully as possible. After gathering some more iron, we went back to base and smelted up what we had and made some iron armor. We decided to take the patented water bucket approach and slowly swam down the stream of water to the side of the ravine. We killed a couple of creepers along the way and found a skeleton spawner. We were still pretty light on our armor, so we decided to take this on pretty carefully. We lit up the skeleton spawner, but then decided on breaking it for the experience. We crafted the rest of our iron armor, and then made our way deeper into the cave. Painful had spotted a ton of zombies at the bottom of the ravine, so he used a creeper to his advantage. I then spotted and mined some redstone, gold, and lapis. Days 4 through 6, we kept on mining inside the cave and found ourselves another skeleton spawner. We also found some goodies inside of the chest, including a saddle, a name tag, and some golden horse armor. And then we just kept on mining through days 4 through 6. Day 7, we made our way back to the surface, smelted up all of our ores, and decided it was about time to move out of our shack. It served its purpose, and we needed a new place to live. We picked up all of our important belongings, said our goodbyes to our shack, and then we began our journey in the rain across the ocean, in search for a new home. After 3 long days of boating across the ocean in the thunderstorms, we finally had found land. We were given a nice warm welcome by a skeleton. After making our way through the birch forest, we found a really nice open area. We immediately decided this was a perfect spot to start our new base. We then gathered up some dark oak wood and started immediately on the outline of our base. I also took the time to watch the sunset, marking the first day at our new home. On the morning of day 11, we immediately got back to work on finishing the base. We installed some nice new dark oak flooring. I started to clear out an area for a farm, chopped some more wood, and then worked on our base just a little bit more. I also made sure to light things up inside the base, and day 11 was over just like that. Day 12, we basically spent the entire day terraforming, gathering more wood, and starting to finish the rest of the base. Day 13 had arrived faster than expected, so I began work immediately on the new farms that would be connected to our house. Once we finished hoeing all the land, we then went to bed and woke up for day 14 to finish up the farms. Not only did we plant wheat, but we also planted melons and pumpkins, which we found at one of the spawners in the caves. We also needed to plant sugarcane so we could get paper for books later on. We also utilized the bones we had acquired from all the skeletons we killed from the skeleton spawners and bone mealed all of our crops to speed up the process. While doing that, Painful had gathered a bunch of food. So, I crafted shields for the both of us and left to go on a big mining trip to find as many diamonds as we could. We didn't have the greatest luck at first and ran into a few dead-end caves while fighting off some mobs. So, we decided to just go straight down to bedrock and start strip mining. I started off by mining some basic ores, and lucky enough, I found our first vein of diamonds. For some reason, there's just something satisfying about finding your first vein of diamonds in your world. Not really sure what it is. With our first diamonds, we made a diamond pickaxe, and I immediately went to mining obsidian so we could make our nether portal and make an enchantment table. We kept on mining the strip mines through day 15 and 16. It took us a while to find a new cave, but once we did, we found a ravine and found our second vein of diamonds. Going through one of the caves, we ended up finding another vein of diamonds. We were so focused in on the diamonds that we didn't realize it was sneaking up on us. I honestly had thought James was dead, but somehow he survived the explosion. It scared the hell out of us. So, we continued mining, I made another diamond pickaxe for Painful, and I condensed some of the ores in my inventory so I had more space. And then, moving into days 17 and 18, we found diamonds, and some more diamonds. Basically continued mining for the next 5 days, mainly just simple ores like coal and iron, so we made our way up to the surface and made our way back to base. After that long mining trip, we had acquired 36 diamonds and plenty of other ores to last us for a while. We then farmed some of our crops. However, while farming the crops, Painful noticed a traveling villager that had 2 llamas. So, we let him into the base. One of the llamas had actually gotten split off from the villager, so I picked up the lead and took the llama for myself. Painful also wanted the other llama, so we were trying to actually be nice to the villager at first and push away the llama. Painful got impatient quickly, and let's just say he used some excessive force to get that llama from that villager. After using excessive force, he had successfully separated the llama from the villager, but at that point, the llama was pissed off at Painful, so the llama started attacking Painful by spitting at him. But everything turned out alright, and we tamed both llamas. By that time, all of our ores were finished smelting, so we gathered all the gold and iron out of them, and also crafted an anvil. With the obsidian we got from the cave, Painful placed down the nether portal. Afterward, we started to get to work on the base again. We started by adding a few more entrances to our base, and patching up some holes. I then let in some cows and sheep into our base with some wheat and started to work on our sheep and cow pens. While working on the sheep and cow pens, Painful had started making some armor and brought me a diamond chestplate. Still on day 24, Painful decided to go out and mine again for some more diamonds. So I went back to what I was doing and started working on the cow and sheep pens. After completing the cow and sheep pens, we bred the cows and bred the sheep. We then crafted some books and bookshelves, and then began working on making the enchantment room. I wanted the enchantment room to be in the side of a hill, kind of underground, so I kind of ran into a problem and had to plug up some water, but it ended up being alright. I ended up using stone bricks, dark oak, and cobblestone in this build. I also started working on the above ground entrance to the base that would connect to the base and would also connect to the underground part of the enchantment room. With the build almost complete at the end of day 25, we went to sleep, and at the morning of day 26, Painful had finally returned from his mining trip. He then showed off what he had acquired from that mining trip, 29 diamonds, and also found plenty of horse armor and dungeon goodies. He also made the rest of my diamond set, then I continued working and finished my enchantment room. Day 28, we spent farming and getting up our food supply. On day 29, we began preparing to go to the Nether and enchanting our diamond armor. We mostly stuck with tier 2 enchantments, so we got protection 2 on most of our armor. I also put sharpness 2 on our diamond axe. After about 2 more days of enchanting, we then decided we were ready to venture into the Nether. Luckily, when we arrived on the other side of the portal, we were safe. So we began our journey looking for nether fortresses. After traveling for about half a day, we finally had found a bastion. So we carefully mined into the side of it and started making our way through the bastion. But we were interrupted by a piglin brute which hit painful for 3.5 hearts in 1 hit. So we made a run for it back the way we came, blocked it up, and took out the piglin brutes at the entrance. We then used our bows and took out some remaining piglins on the side. And then we slowly and carefully ventured down to the bottom loot room of the bastion. We made sure to block up as much lava as we could in creating a safe room that we could go into and loot it without getting killed. In the chest there was some great loot, a netherite ingot, an enchanted golden apple, and some diamond armor. We then stole some of the golden blocks from the loot room and then continued our journey through the nether. It took us an additional 5 days to finally find a nether fortress. Our main goal in exploring this fortress was to find nether wart and to find a blaze spawner. This ghast started really annoying me, so I turned to face the ghast, took a fireball to the face, and then the second fireball I threw right back at him. I then took on some wither skeletons, and then Painful had pointed out that he had found a blaze spawner. I dropped down to him, and then we continued to farm blaze rods until we had enough to bring back to make plenty of brewing stands and to make ender eyes. Day 39. After 3 days of traveling back to our portal, we had finally made it safely back to base. We then threw our loot from the nether into one chest so you guys could see exactly what we got. After we returned from the nether, we decided it was time to prepare for some bed farming. And if you're unfamiliar with that, after shearing a ton of sheep and making a ton of beds, we returned back to the nether. And using the mechanic of beds exploding in the nether when you try to sleep in them, if you have the right amount of armor and stand the right distance away, basically as far as you possibly could, and right-click the bed, this would cause the bed to blow up. The explosion would help you mine, so you could find netherite much easier than if you were to mine by hand. We continued to do this for another 7 days because ancient debris, which you smelt down and get netherite scraps, is not easy to come by, and it takes 4 ancient debris to make 1 netherite ingot. We then returned to the bastion that we left behind earlier to go explore even more, hoping it would contain one of the coveted weapons we were looking for as one of our main objectives. After getting pelted by a ghast over and over, we finally made our way to one of the chest rooms in the bastion. When we opened the chest, we were shocked. We had finally found one of the Netherite Black Opal Weapons that we were looking for. We only needed 1 more so that both of us would have them when we went to the end to fight the Ender Dragon. Also, I finally took out this annoying ghast. We then traveled down further into the bastion and found a double chest which contained another Netherite Black Opal weapon. The chest also contained some spectral arrows and some iron. This specific Netherite Black Opal weapon is one of the strongest, as it has 17 base attack damage. We then returned home and smelted up the ancient debris that we had gotten from our bed mining trip. We then looked outside our base and there was a phantom that started to attack us. So I bowed it down in one shot and looted the phantom membrane, which we could later use for potion brewing. At the start of day 50, I placed down some brewing stands, and Painful and I started on making our nether wart farm. Day 51, on a cold rainy day, we ended up getting attacked by a ton more phantoms, and I had gotten to work on a horse's stable the previous day. For the next 4 days after we finished defending our base, I finished the horse's stable. Painful went out to find horses to bring back to the stable. Day 57. I used the netherite scrap that we had smelted up the previous few days, and then crafted a ton of netherite ingots, which I then gave half to Painful, and we upgraded all of our armor to full netherite, completing one of our main objectives. days 58 to 63. We decided that Protection 2 Netherite Armor wasn't going to be good enough, and we wanted the best possible enchants when we went to go fight the Ender Dragon. So, we spent the next 5 days mining and getting as much experience as possible, so we could enchant as much as we could. We then took a break from mining to spend for the next 4 days looking for Endermen, since they are really hard to come by in the overworld. It was an absolute pain to find all the Endermen we needed. We ended up spreading out to actually find all the Endermen we could, so we could actually have all the Ender Pearls necessary, so we could have enough Ender Eyes to actually find and complete the End Portal. Day 69, we had finally gone back to base and used the Ender Pearls we had just farmed for the last 4 days and crafted the Ender Eyes, and in a fit of celebration we threw them around and were hyped to go to the end. However, we weren't ready for the end just yet, so we spent the rest of day 70 helping tend to the farms and brewing potions. On the night of day 70, we finally set out to go to the end. We began following the path the Ender Eyes were telling us to take, and after 8 long days of journeying through the forests and the jungles, we finally found ourselves in the middle of a jungle, and our last Ender Eye that we threw went straight down into the ground, telling us it was right below us. So we began mining straight down until we finally ran into the stronghold. And eventually we had finally ran into the stronghold. After making it this far, we were extremely nervous while going through the stronghold. We did not want to mess this up. After entering the stronghold, we were greeted by a few creepers and made our way through the maze. And after testing out our Netherite Black Opal Weapons and some of the mobs in the stronghold, before we knew it, we had finally found the end portal, and we knew what time it was. At the 80th day, we began placing the Ender Eyes into the end portal frames. It had been so long since I made an end portal, I had forgot the menacing sound it made when it was completed. In order to go in as ready as possible, we drank all of our potions before entering, and then we both looked at each other and knew there was no turning back. We had finally made it. It was time to fight the Ender Dragon, our last goal. Luckily enough, we had a good spawn and started mining straight up to the island. We immediately started by taking out the end crystals atop the obsidian towers. We had to take these out first, as the end crystals would regenerate the Ender Dragon's health if we were to attack him first. After taking out all the end crystals, we began bowing down the Ender Dragon, and he came straight down above the portal exit. This makes the Ender Dragon temporarily invincible to attack, so we had to stop attacking him for now. I waited in the wrong spot, and he flew directly into me. He launched me into the air, and I almost forgot I had my water bucket, but then broke my fall with the water. After that, I went straight back to bowing down the Ender Dragon with my Netherite bow. If you're wondering where I got this, this is also a part of the same mod as the Netherite Black Opal Weapons, as it allows you to upgrade normal bows into Netherite bows. Our bows were doing so much damage that Painful had already fired the last shot, and the Ender Dragon was defeated. We had finally done it. Our last objective was complete. It had been so long since I killed the Ender Dragon, I almost forgot what that sounded like. So, I just took a few seconds to soak it all in. And we collected our much-deserved reward of a ton of experience. Before we left the end, we made sure to take the dragon egg by placing a torch underneath it and breaking the blocks above it. This causes the dragon egg to fall onto the torch, giving you the dragon egg as an item. So, we both jumped through the end portal exit, and I took a second to go on a nostalgia trip and watch the Minecraft credits. I really just wanted to see my name on the screen, so I waited till that happened, and then we were back at base. By the time I got back, Painful had already placed down the dragon egg, marking the end of day 81. Day 82. I started by making a stone cutter so we could craft a grindstone and disenchant our netherite armor. We wanted to go back to the end and explore the end city so we could both have elytra, but we still only had protection 2 and protection 3 armor, so we wanted to make sure to get protection 4 and the best possible enchants on our weapons as well. We ended up spending the rest of day 82 enchanting with the levels we had gotten from the Ender Dragon. Days 83 through 86 we spent traveling back to the end portal. While going down back into the stronghold, we remember that we actually actually hadn't explored the entire thing yet. So we spent the rest of day 86 exploring the entire stronghold top to bottom. At some point, we ended up finding the library, and the library actually contained one of the best pieces of loot we found in the whole series. And in this chest, there was 2 enchanted books, one with power 3 and one with sharpness 3, piercing 4. After that full day of exploring the stronghold, day 87 we entered the end one more time. So we began pillaring up to the remote gateway. To actually enter the remote gateway, you have to pearl into the portal. Sometimes it can be a little bit glitchy, so Painful actually failed his first pearl. So I lined up my pearl, threw it, and made it through on the first try. I waited for Painful, and I knew we had a long journey ahead of us. After 7 long days of traveling, we finally found our first end city. We knew we had to explore the ship first, so we drank one of our slowfall potions just in case we fell, but we started pillaring straight up to the ship. Luckily, we hadn't aggroed a single enderman, so we made it up safely and mined into the ship. I started getting attacked by a shulker box immediately, which causes you to levitate when it hits you. So I went up to it and defeated that quickly. Then Painful took the elytra, we looted the chests, then we went to the top of the ship, and he flew directly to the end city. I honestly thought he would mess up and die, but he had slowfall on, which helped him get across. And don't worry, I made sure to get the ender dragon head at the front of the ship. We then began our ascent into the end city. We killed dozens of shulker boxes and ascended various towers before we were able to find the loot room. And to our surprise, it had pretty decent gear. We found a protection 3 set of leggings and an ender chest. So we spent the next 6 days exploring to find another end city so we could have a second elytra so we could both have one. We actually ran out of food along the way, so we used the chorus fruit around us to survive. We'd finally made it to the top of the ship, and then I collected my reward. Another elytra. And there was actually some good loot in the chest as well. Some diamonds and a protection 4 and breaking 3 pair of leggings. I went up to get the ender dragon head, but what would happen next, I would never forget. I watched the ender dragon head fall off the side, and as I was peering over the edge, Painful hit me off the side, and I nearly died, and just barely caught myself with the elytra to break my fall. This is the part I won't forget. I could not stop laughing when this happened. So that does it for the 100 days, guys. It ends just like that. Painful swan diving straight into concrete. Who would have thought the series would end like that on day 100? If you're wondering how this happened, Painful had no idea how to properly use an elytra, and thought he did because he had a slowfall potion on earlier. So this is the result. Well, if you guys enjoyed the series, it would help if you slapped a like and subscribed. But anyways, hope you guys have a great day.